Hey, what up, friends? My name is Mariah Karina, and I am getting ready to give a course called Transforming Codependency on October 7th, 2020. It's going to be so awesome. I've been preparing for it. I'm so excited to share with you all of this amazing content. So, link below. Go check it out. Register for the course. Also, in preparing for it, I am answering your questions about sex, relationship, communication practices, knowing yourself, being connected to the quantum field of the psyche. So please comment below, send me a message, slide into my DMs, and I will answer your questions. All right, the question that I am answering today, which I probably should have seen coming, but it was a hard one, is what are your top 3 tips for avoiding codependency? Tip number 2 is, what do I want? What do I want? And I want to make a distinction here because I think people get very into what do I want in terms of, again, mental objectified. How does it look on the outside? Like for a long part of my life, I wanted a partner. I want a partner. I want a partner. I want a partner. And I would like visualize and I would like imagine what it felt like to be in the end of the partner and all of this stuff like that. And that was really valid and like meaningful for me at the time, right? But I think because I had this image of what it is that I was going for, that I was like imposing, and I'm like, are you my partner? Are you my partner? Are you my partner? Is this situation going to lead to it? Is this situation going to lead to it? I developed this beautiful vision of what I wanted in a big way, but I didn't necessarily develop this sort of in the moment skill of what do I want right now? What do I want in this situation? What do I want in terms of what's available to me? And we're so busy and we have so much shoved in our fucking face that we rarely have time to actually sit and think about this, right? Like when was the last time you had a completely free Saturday afternoon, a completely free Saturday day? That is the perfect opportunity to practice what I'm talking about by what do you want, which is like in the moment, in reality itself, what do you want? And it's a practice. We don't get to do this. We don't even get to ask ourselves this. What do I want? Do I want to read? Do I want to eat this food? Do I want to work right now? Do I want to, like what? What do you want? And the same thing when you're with a person, right? What do you want with them? And feel into it. What feels like natural and possible between you two, right? Something is getting sexual. Ooh, what do you want? What do you want? It's a skill we so rarely build. And both sides of them are important. Both what you want in terms of your relationship is really important for coming up with codependency, how you want to like work through conflict together, what sort of sexual experiences you want to have, what sort of like shared values you want, how do you want to structure your living situation together. All of that, it's good to think about in a big way. What do you want? But the real skill that I found comes like in the moment when you're with an actual person and just starting with whatever is available to you, right? You go to a coffee shop. Which coffee shop do you want? Do you want to sit inside? Do you want to sit outside? Do you want the matcha latte? Do you want the mocha? Whatever, This daily practice, moment by moment practice, what do you want, will really come in handy when you start to find yourself going into codependent patterns. One, I think it's also going to serve as like a preventative medicine from going into codependent patterns, because if you know what you want, you're less likely to abandon yourself, or you're more able to be grounded in that while also negotiating and compromising in a relationship, which is obviously part of being with anybody, right? Sometimes you just have to do shit that you don't want. But it can be with awareness, it can be communicated, and it can be in this overarching and shared mutual understanding, as opposed to it just being like this secret, unconscious self-abandonment. But I think so it works as immune, but it also will help because part of what happens in codependency is you stop experiencing reality as it is, and you start negotiating with reality to try and make it what you want it to be. And so you're again in this sort of like mental doing mode, as opposed to in this feeling, connected, authentic expression mode. And this, what you want, I think helps you be like, oh, like if I really want to, let's say, what's something you might want? Like, let's say you're like, I really want someone who's into communicating with me throughout the day, right? I love getting text messages and Marco Polos or whatever. I hate this. I hate text messaging, but I know a lot of people love it, right? I want someone to be like writing to me all the time and feel like we're having this ongoing conversation all the time, right? Sure, it's a totally valid desire. All desires are valid. So let's say someone wants that and their other person is someone like me who's like, I'm not into that. I don't want that. I don't like that pressure. I don't like that obligation, right? If both people know what they want, then they can make a more clear-eyed assessment of what type of relationship is natural between them, right? It's like, oh, I'm not going to get my need met for this ongoing communication from this person. I'm not, right? I'm not. So I can either like choose to be with them anyway, knowing that I'm not getting it, or I can like try and get it with friends and family and all that and see if it scratches the itch. Or you know, maybe I can like look into poly options, whatever. But the point is like, if you know what you want, it helps you be able to like clearly see what the other person is available for. And if two people genuinely know what they want, then they can like more accurately make a choice to be together or not. This is easy to say. It is the hardest thing to do, right? Because we get very attached to individual people. And, you know, it becomes sort of like devastating to imagine that we would have to give up a person. But the thing is, if we're genuinely not compatible with somebody, that's what's in front of us, right? It's like we can either give up the person or we can give up our desire. And what I found is that the desire tends to win. You know, the desire tends to win. So we all have to suffer however much is in our learning, growth, evolutionary trajectory to suffer. In terms of this, I think sometimes that suffering is a mechanism by which we clarify and polarize and discover our desires, our bottom lines, our deepest dreams of what we truly want, and just how we're wired as an animal. I think all that shows up through the challenges we experience in relationships. So it's not necessarily about not going through it, but for what it's worth, I think desire tends to win. And that the more we're able to be in the abundance of human connection, the easier it is to be able to recognize when our desires aren't happening and to walk away, which is, whether that's, a friend, a coworker, family, I think is a little bit of a special case. And something to address here is like, how do I know if my desire is not being met or if we're just in a conflict? Right? There's so many times when people will polarize in a conflict and it's not like a genuine soul level, being level incompatibility with someone. You're just like constellated something between you two. And so how do you know if it's like, oh, like this is like truly intractable difference of our deepest essence, core self, versus, oh, we're just playing something out in relationship that we would be able to transcend if we had like the correct support or communication tools or facilitative guidance or something like that. And this is a serious question. It's a question that only you can know. It's a question that only the world can unfold and show you. I am getting ready to give a course called Transforming Codependency on October 7th, 2020. It's going to be so awesome.